our advanced version of the cell shading technique where our shadow on the side gets progressively darker, which means we're going to not merge all our layers together. So you can see all my shading is done on a variety of clipping masks. And there's a lot here because of that. So I'm going to go ahead and turn off all my clipping masks on this file. And you can kind of see, if you're watching the screen, then all the shading kind of progressively disappear. Okay. And I'm turning them off, like so. Just hitting that eye, but I'm not going to delete them. Okay. And there seems to be one left. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, so I'm going to start on the chest. So I'm going to find my chest layer. See the nose, leg. Here we are, chest. I'm going to pick up this color and go slightly darker on my value scale. I'm going to create my clipping mask, and it automatically did it for me because I have these other clipping masks here. So I want to know which one I'm currently working on, so I'm going to mark it green. I'm going to come to this one and take that off. So if you want to know where certain things are, you can color them. Okay, I'm going to come over to my brush and turn my smoothing way up. I'm going to turn my brush up, and I'm going to put in this color. Now, if it's too dark, and I'm just getting that same curve, following kind of the curve of these other lines, trying to get it smooth. There you go. It's a little bit too half. I'm going to turn it way down though, because this is going to become the lightest area. And then I'm going to create another layer on top of it. I'm going to label it green as well. And I'm going to use the same color. And I'm simply going to fill it in, following that. And then I'm going to turn this one down to blend them together. Okay, and don't have to change much. And then I'm going to create one more clipping mask, mark it green. And on this one, I'm going to just put in that final one. And again, not changing it too much. Okay. So now I have this kind of cell shading here that is a little more complicated. Okay. I could come over here now, mark it green for the chest area, and I'm going to pick a lighter color, and I can kind of put in some of those highlights that would be maybe reflecting on this lighter area. Okay, I could also hit Control and highlight these, and now I can edit and go to Layer and merge those clipping masks onto one layer, and I can turn it down even more for more subtle shading. Then the back legs are here, and I would do the same thing, is decide where the shadow is going to be. And I'm going to put that darker shadow with my brush here and here. And highlights. And I'm only going to put highlights where the light would hit it. Like this is going to be mostly in shadow. So the highlights are mostly on this side and right here on the toe. So again, I'm just picking a darker version of this color and drawing in where the frog's front legs would cast a shadow on the back legs, and then adding the highlights where the light, which is coming from the left, would hit the frog's back legs. All right, so let's walk through the rest. We're going to go to the leg here, and I'm going to turn on, and you can see here what I did instead of, I treated the base as the shadow, and because the light's coming from the left, it's going to hit that front leg, and I put a thicker highlight there, and I'm noticing there's this one area that needs adjusting. So I'm going to come here and just fill, oops, Oh, I guess that's on a different layer. I'll fix that later. Okay, and then here's the leg right. And on this one, I'm going to need to put a shadow. So I'm going to remember, you use your picker tool, pick up that brush, find your darker color, and here I'll do it again. Create your clipping mask. And what area will be the darkest? Well, it's going to have less light the further we get away from our light source. So the light's coming here. So this is going to be darker here. I'm going to fill that in following the curve of the line. And then I can fade it a little into blending it in because you don't want it as dark as the backlight. Okay, so then we're working our way up. Your details, right? Leg right details, they should get some shadow on them. So we're adding a little shadow on those leg right details. And then same, you're gonna have highlights on the left side. So shadows here, highlights there, because this is getting more sun than this side. Okay, now we're gonna move up to the nose. The nose is going to continue the shadow here. So I'm gonna create my clipping mask. I'm going to take my picker tool and pick up this color, and I'm going to go slightly darker, come back to my brush, adjust its size, and I'm going to continue this line here. And I'm going to bring it over all the way over here. Fill that in. Then I'm going to go a little darker. I'm going to create a new clipping mask, and I'm going to make this a little darker here. Okay. And just a tiny bit darker, create a new clipping mask and fill it in here. And this gets pretty dark, so this one I am going to fade down so that it's not any darker than the shadow on the leg there. I'm looking back at that leg, and I'm going to come leg right. Here it is. And I'm realizing I want to just blend that together in there so that they're one. There's something going on with my layer right there. I need to figure it out. All right, so now I'm just seeing that this needs to curve more this way. And then I can hit Control and I can merge these together, layer, merge layers. And then if I want to, I can just turn that down a little. I need to figure out this mistake in my layers. So later I'm going to have to go back on. And as I do this, I'm noticing that maybe I want to keep that up, but I'm noticing a little problem right here too, where these don't quite line up. Want to make sure your shading lines line up. Okay, so now that shadow's coming all the way across. And then I would work back to the eyes. So I don't need to do any shading on the white of the eyes or the pupils necessarily, but I do need to put those shadows on my eyelids. And then I do need to think about highlights, so I'm going to come back, put highlights on the nose. And I've put some light highlights in here, those reflective highlights, just because we have light on this pupil here, so reflective highlights and those shadows help create that sense of balance. All right, so this is the more complicated version of the cell shading. We are going to try both and see which styles work best for us, because when you get to the bunny, you want as many options as possible.